countries.
So they were bringing these to your parents sometimes?
Hmm?
They were bringing the dolls to you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But your parents traveled to these countries also?
Well, they did some of the traveling, but they had friends that were traveling.
All right,
The first ones we got was the ones from Martinique.
okay.
Oh, where is it? Thought I saw it.
Yeah,
No.
there's somewhere. Let's see if we
Yeah.
can.
They might be upstairs.
Oh, yeah, the Eunice doll that's up there, the
Mm-hmm.
gal in the big yellow skirt.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's a very, very nice doll.
Mm-hmm.
She'll probably be on display at the museum when they come back from here. So that was the first one that somebody brought to you?
Yes.
Okay. And then were they always bringing one for you and one for your sister, or sometimes just bringing one doll?
No, we shared the doll.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, we didn't want to play with them because we liked them so much. And we give it hands off.
Did you keep a
Some
map?
kids, will get something and they strip the
Sure. They play rough, right?
yeah.
So did you have to continue to get more space to display all your dolls?
Oh, my. We had big boxes. As my dad was at the Ohio Leather,
Mm-hmm.
and we just laid the dolls in those boxes and had tissue paper around them and everything
Uh-huh.
else. And then at Christmas time, we brought them all out
Oh, nice.
and had them under the Christmas tree.
Oh, that's wonderful. Did you ever take any pictures of that?
Oh, yes, but I don't know where they are.
Maybe
I
George
got some.
does. Maybe George does.
Do you have some?
Yeah.
Oh, we would like to have a scan of one of those.
Okay. Okay.
That's wonderful, yeah. We have a little feather tree, the real old-fashioned trees, and we put miniature dolls on it from all these different countries at the Doll Museum.
Oh,
But it would be fun to have a picture of how the dolls were around your tree. Was it a big tree?
oh, yes. We had a big room off of our living room, and we always put the tree in there, and then we have put all the dolls around it and took pictures and everything else.
Did Santa ever bring you more dolls?
Pardon?
Did Santa bring you more dolls?
Oh, yes. Well, my dad was at Ohio Leather, and they had all kinds of people coming into there to buy skins and everything. And so we got to see people from China and Argentina and everything else. And my mother and I cooked a lot of dinners for all these people that came in from foreign countries.
I noticed there were some Chinese dolls, which is a little bit different area of the world than all the South American ones.
Oh,
Um,
yes, those were brought from, a man that was living in the Philippines out there. He went into China with a missionary who was working with him, and he was the one that picked up the Chinese dolls.
Interesting. Travel in the 1930s would be so different than travel today
Oh, yes.
that it'd be quite an adventure.
Yes, it was. I mean, I don't know how some people survived the travel in that stuff.
I know a lot of Americans went to Europe in the early 1900s, and that was the grand tour, well, even late 1800s. But some of these countries are ones where we don't see very many travel dolls because they weren't the popular tourist stop. And yet, when you look at the detail that's in like these El Salvador dolls, isn't he something? Or even,
I'm just glad they're in such good shape.
Well, they are. It's really wonderful. Now, cloth dolls, which many of them are, survive very well. And the doll, like the one from Martinique upstairs, which is a China doll made by a company called Eunice, is actually a bisque doll, and they survive well. But those celluloid dolls, the celluloid ages after a while. So we're real careful with the ones that have celluloid bodies, because sometimes if you just go to pick them up by the arm, you'll hear a crack or something. So we're just, okay, here's a celluloid doll. We'll ease it into a little stand, generally over its clothes so that it doesn't get pinched. But it was kind of fun when we were putting them out. Another gal came to help me, and she was saying, "Oh, this is my favorite." "No, this is my favorite." And I said, you know, it was like Christmas for us, opening up these bins, because there were all of these fantastically dressed dolls, or the Nicaragua dolls are just fascinating because, you know, their bodies are made of paper with a little bit of cloth over them. You can almost hear them crinkle the paper when you pick it up. It's a very different texture, and we've never seen anything like them before, so that's been lots of fun.
Do you have some more of them?
Well, we have the ones that are on display, and there are about 20 some more still at the doll museum, and one long hanging case. And those are the dolls in the Dutch shoes. There's a blue one and a green one. I'm thinking you remember these pretty well. And those were made by Nora Wellings. She was a British lady, but she made lots of dolls that were cloth, and some of them were sold on cruise ships. So there are those. There's a little doll that is maybe only about 8 inches tall from Switzerland. She has her mouth pursed like she's whistling or she's about to kiss. And then there are also two very nice carved German dolls in the regional costumes, and they're probably 14 inches. There are two dolls by Kata Kruse, who was a doll maker from Germany, and she has kind of an interesting story. She started making dolls for her children, and actually started with a bag of sand because she wanted to find make a doll that would feel like a real doll. Well, eventually she got into doll making, wanting to make kind of wholesome images. And so you had two German dolls. There was a boy with kind of a tall fur hat, and he's really the treasure of the whole collection. So he and his partner are together. And then there are two of the Crawley dollies from Ireland there. One is here. I'm trying to think who else is in that case. A little Hummel boy.
Oh, yes.
And we still have the two Austrians, the fellow in the white fur coat and his partner, because their eyes are closed and they're celluloid, so we can't mess around with them. And I'm thinking that if we leave them standing up, they need to be stored on their faces in order for the eyes to stay in the proper position. And so we're hoping that if we leave them upright in the stands for long enough, that their eyes will open. Because right now they look like they're pretty sleepy. But that's just what happens with celluloid dolls over time. And that can happen with China dolls too. So if we store them flat on their face, so that the eyes are not pulling down on the mechanism, which is very fragile in a celluloid doll. And I guess my memory is not giving me any more cues about what's in that one case, but there's a case that I think I might have, did I send you a picture of it?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll be able to figure out which dolls are there. I wish we were accessible for you over there, because we have lots of dolls on display that you might find interesting as well as yours. But we have steps in both directions. And maybe someday we will make an adaptation, I hope.